Hey. Oh, hey. Welcome to the armory. So, let me put the war rabbit down. So today, we are going to be talking about all the guns that we have acquired for our own personal collection in 2025. So, hit that like and subscribe button so you can get more firearm related content, and let us start this show off with our first rifle that we got. All right, so starting off our list here is this M16A4 clone. Technically, we started this build in 2024. We did the lower receiver, and then we was acquiring all the parts for the upper. But what we did here was we actually got our hands on a Knights Armament rail system, just like what I was issued when I was in the Marines back in 2007. We were actually issued at boot camp to the M16A2, and as soon as we left boot camp, we went to the School of Infantry. We were issued brand new in the box M16A4s, and I just had to make a clone for myself. A little nostalgia for me, so that's what we did here. Is we basically took an FN lower, built it out with a Knights Armament rail system, and made ourselves an M16A4 clone, including the Ontario Knife Works bayonet, marked with the USMC on the right-hand side and the Eagle Globe and Anchor here on the left-hand side. So that takes it up for this first one here. You would have seen videos on this when we originally started the build. We showed you how to install the buttstock and stuff like that. But this is just one of many rifles that one of many firearms that we picked up back in 2025. And so this is the one that we're starting off our list because it's the first one that we fully acquired in 2025. Next up on our list is this Gras Cavalry carbine here. You should remember when we unboxed this, basically the condition it was in when at that time. We have since cleaned up the metal and the stocks that's on it, and it looks a lot better than it did. But it will probably never be shot while it's in my collection. And the reason I say that is the ammo for it's non-existent. They do make a conversion kit to shoot a 410 in it. There's other options I can do. But again, this was made in, let's see, what is it? 1879. I just may never shoot this one. I mean, it's a nice piece of history to have, and I do like how it looks. I wish I could find an original rear sight to put on it, but this is one of the ones that will probably never be shot in our collection. There's a couple in our collection that fit that bill, and one of them will be on later in this video. So let's move on to our next one. So our next one on the list, we're actually going to cover two of them because we got both of these last year. The first one is this B grade Enfield, which I absolutely love to shoot this. I've taken it to the range a couple times. You can see right here in this video where we took it out to the range and we're shooting it. And it's just absolutely a pleasure to shoot. The bore is great. The end of the muzzle is great. So we have zero accuracy issues with it. And I really enjoy having this in the collection. This one here, we ended up getting a sling for. We also got, unfortunately, we didn't pay the money for an authentic bayonet, so we went ahead and got a reproduction bayonet for it, which will fit this one. And also our 1916 dated B grade Enfield. Again, I have not shot this one, but The barrel is not in as good as condition as the other one that we first got. So the first one I just showed you was made in 1938. Great barrel, shoots great. This one, 1916. So it's got some history. I mean, I've showed you before about the rear sights. What we did here is we went with an earlier style sling before the canvas sling. Just because this is a 1916, we just wanted to give it a little, just make it a little different a little bit. It's nothing that can't be changed out in the future, but we are definitely keeping this one in our collection because of just for the significance of the history on it. I mean, again, it's 1916. World War I was 1914 to 1918. So there is a good chance, not 100% chance, but a good chance that this one may have made its way to the trenches. Do we know for certain? Absolutely not. But we do know it's seen some use at some point in its life. I mean, we got the crack in the stock. Just like on this one, it had a crack here, or actually a replacement part in the stock here. It's missing a big chunk of wood here, which we decided just to go ahead and leave the stock alone like that just because of the history. It's part of the rifle's history. So these two, they were both known as B grades from Royal Tiger. I would honestly argue this one was a B grade because it was only missing its handguard. And I think there was one other piece that this one was missing. I can't remember off the top of my... Yes, this was missing its safety as well. Other than that, this would be... on the B grade scale on them, I'm going to regrade this. This would be like a B++, whereas I would have graded this as a B-, almost a C grade, to be honest. It really was not in good condition when it got here. But it did clean up pretty good, so I really can't argue with that. So now we are going to move on to our next firearm. I think it's also a rifle. No. The next firearm we're going to have on our list is actually a handgun. So we'll go grab that and be right back. Alrighty, so the next thing we have here that we picked up for our own personal collection, and when it walked in, I could not pass it up. It was this C96 broom-handled Mauser, and this one is actually the Bolo model, so it's a little shorter here. But to get my hands on one of these, I couldn't even believe it. I actually took guns out of my own personal collection. I normally don't sell guns out of my personal collection, but when this came in, I'm like, I'm selling some guns, I'm buying it. So we actually ended up losing our FAL out of that just to get this. But I've always wanted one of these, and I've only seen, before I saw this one, I've only seen two in the wild. One was a Red 9, and that sat at a gun store for a couple of years before they finally sold it. And then another one was at a gun show. But the price on it was just absolutely outrageous. This one, when it walked in with another one as well. The other one was not a Bolo model, but it had been re-blued, redone, and you could really tell that it was redone. All we had to do to this one when we got it was change out the firing pin because the firing pin itself was broken. But then that was no big deal. We did a video showing you that process. So yeah, I mean, this is one that's, I'm hoping that if something happens to me, my kids keep it in the family, because you can find them all day on places like Gunbroker, but out in the wild, I've only seen, in pretty much my entire life, I've only seen 4 out in the wild, and this is one of them. So I could keep going on and on and on about these, but we got more to show you. I don't want to get this video too long because we've got quite a bit that we picked up this year. I was actually making the list and I was like, oh, buddy, we actually did buy a lot last year. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one on our list here, and we've actually taken it out and shot it as well, and you should be seeing that video here soon, is our Chinese Type 56 SKS. And this one here, when we got it, we went to our buddy's store and we went looking through some of the stuff he just acquired before he even put it out. Just looked back there and said, hey, look, SKS with a blade bayonet. At that time, I've only seen the blade bayonet on SKSs that were not Chinese. So I asked to look at it. The wood was all pretty much, the finish was gone on it. There was just a little bit of finish left here, as the picture here is showing. And we ended up getting this at a really good price because I saw it was Chinese and I saw it had the blade bayonet. I'm like, ooh, early model Chinese. We're going to go ahead and grab this. And at the price he gave it to us for, I couldn't pass it up. So we went ahead, we used a red mahogany Danish oil to refinish this stock. And I think the stock turned out absolutely gorgeous. But it still has that wear look to it, but it has a new finish on it. And these actually had even though these didn't have like a linseed oil finish or a mahogany oil finish, they actually were a lacquer finish. So that explained a lot of why the finish was gone, because over the years it just chipped away. But we went ahead, cleaned this one up, and now it's in our collection. It works. We actually had some issues with this when we took it to the range. We found out the tip of the firing pin on it was broke. So we ended up replacing the firing pin on this, and it works fine now. So we got more to go, and it's not the only one that we did a refinish job on. Our next one is also one that we actually did a refinish job on, and it's because it was not kept in the best of climates. All right, so our next one is this Type 99 Arisaka. And we did our restoration series on this. And I mean, when we got this thing, it was a rusted mess. And I know we don't like talking about refinishing Arisaka stocks, but we went ahead and did it anyways, because again, it's in my personal collection. It's staying in my personal collection, but the finish was already like the SKS, it was going away. So we went ahead and just redid that. I mean, we redid the metal on this because again, it was a rusted up gun. It really doesn't hold the collector value that the ones with the mums do. This one is one of the ones that had the mum ground away. It was already a parts gun. It had a last ditch bolt, which I still have sitting over there on my desk. I'm actually looking at right now. But we still have some work to do on it. We are missing a spring for the aircraft sight. That's why the aircraft sights aren't on here, because it was just flopping around, and I still want to take it out to the range and shoot it, but we will eventually get around to doing that. So we added this one. Originally, we got this just to, we were originally planning on actually just cleaning it up and then possibly selling it, but by the time we got all the parts we needed to get it back to working order and get to where it needed to go, the cost exceeded the value of the firearm. So that's where I went ahead and just did the full restoration on it and put it in our own personal collection. So this one was going to go see a gun show, but it never did. So we will now go on to our next firearm. All right, so now what we have here is finally, it's not a military firearm. And for some reason, I still have no idea why. But for some reason, earlier this year, I had a hankering for a double barrel shotgun. Never in my life have I been like, man, I really want a double barrel shotgun. Then all of a sudden I'm like, I really want a double barrel shotgun. So I finally got my hands on this Crescent Arms shotgun. I mean, I was looking over, doing a little research. Hey, what do we want? But these ones were what you would consider your everyday commoner's shotgun. These were made to sell in hardware stores, places like Sears. They were sold under different names. This one was actually sold under the Elgin Arms Company. So, and it's still a Crescent shotgun with all the Crescent parts, but this one we got as a gunsmith special. And when I first started looking for these, I was looking at how much work did I have to put into it? What can I expect to spend? I actually went to every single gun store in the immediate area of me, just to see what they might have as far as side-by-side shotguns. Because there was at least 2 gun stores that I knew that would sell these. And they were only pretty much the only 2 that sold old firearms. And when I spent a month looking for these, neither one of them had a single one. And they even agreed, like, man, for some reason, we would have them always here, that nobody would buy them, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they would come in, they'd be bought up. No idea why. But I went ahead, I did some bidding, I've lost a few bids, and then I finally bid on this one, and it looked like I was going to lose the bid on this one, but at the last minute, I won it. And I'm actually very happy that I did. I looked at it. Do we need to redo the stock? No, we don't. Stock's actually in pretty good condition. We did have to clean it because it had some almost like sap on the stock going down the sides here, and we just took a little bit of acetone, cleaned that up, just cleaned up the wood a little bit, and we are going to wax our wood before we use it. But one of the things we did here was we got it to where the trigger on this side, you could just touch the trigger, it would go off. And sometimes you would open it, close it, and you would take the safety off and it would go off. What we found in there was basically that the sear was worn at the hammer, and we had to basically just give it a new edge. And when we did that, as you can tell, I have it off safe now. We're going to show you this. These are pretty much snap caps at this point. They're empty, old used shells. So we're going to use those as snap caps. And weapons off safe. I actually have to use a little bit of force now instead of just barely touching it. Same with that side. So this is something I would say I got on a whim, but I really can't, that would actually be a lie. I grew up, I've seen them in movies and everything, and I thought they were cool, but I also thought like, eh. Then all of a sudden it just hit me. It was like, let's get us one. But we still have a little bit of work to do on this one. One thing, after we got that fixed, we also found that our trigger plate was cracked. So we ended up ordering a trigger plate for this. And one thing that's interesting about these shotguns, this one was made around 1915. Crescent, they lost their records back in the day. So some people actually got a roundabout guesstimate based off of serial numbers on when these were actually made, and this would have been around 1915. So it's an old shotgun. It's not a Damascus barrel. It's an Armory steel barrel on this, but if I do shoot it, it will be with lighter loads for safety reasons. But one thing that I found interesting on these is that all the parts on this were hand fitted. So what that means is when the original trigger plate was on this, whenever the hole was drilled for the screw, it was drilled specifically for that firearm. This trigger plate, the screw hole is slightly off center. So what I have to actually do is fill in the hole, re-drill the screw hole, and then rethread the screw hole, which for me, that's no big deal. It's just I got to have time to do it. And then we'll actually be able to take this one out to the range and make sure everything's working good on it. I may even use it for some hunting someday. But we'll move on to our next one. I kind of like to ramble on with these things because especially this one, I just really enjoy it. It's not my favorite shotgun, but just with the history of our country and everything, the side-by-side shotgun has a huge place in it. And I just think it's really cool. I mean, we could talk about the history of the side-by-side shotgun going all the way back to the Old West and everything. How they were cut down, coach guns. And I think we can do that for another video another time. Because if I start now, this video will go on forever. So we'll go on to the next firearm that we got back in 2025. And I think we will have to do a side-by-side shotgun video. Just because thinking about it, it's a pretty cool idea. All right, so the next one that we have here is another AR build that we did. This one is actually our M16A2 clone. And again, for me, it's a little more for sentimental value. When I joined the Marine Corps back in 2006, went through boot camp, we were issued the M16A2. So I had to qualify with the M16A2. And then later on, I had to do qualifications with the M16A4. But the M16A2, it holds a place in military history. And I really, really wanted to have my own just for that nostalgia value for me. And then all of a sudden, I started other builds as well. So I ended up going, okay, we're not doing a regular AR build. We're just going to continue our M16 clone building series so that we can actually go over differences and all that. And I think that's another video we are going to be planning on doing. But I added this one in, and I will say this about this one. I have never had an AR-15 that I had to break in until this one. For some reason, the tolerances in this upper receiver were just slightly off or something, and it took about 100 rounds before this started functioning perfectly. I know I put a video up of the issues that we were having with it, but after that 100 round mark, I've gone through multiple magazines with zero flaws, including the magazine that we were using where this kept having issues. And I've used that same magazine in other ARs. I've also used it in our Steyr AUG with no issues. So this is the first AR that I didn't just put together and could just take out and have no issues. This one actually had its own break-in period on it. So I found that odd, but it is what it is. So while we're talking about that, let's go ahead and grab our next one that we were going ahead and talking about, which is this M16E1 clone. Now, this one, we actually got from the same place that we got a lot of stuff from, like our we got the SKS and the air socket from the same person. Walked in there one day, had zero plans of building this as soon as I did, but he actually had the furniture set here So it was, what he had was the stock, the hand guards, and the front side assembly, and the delta ring. And the gas tube. They were takeoffs of an M16A1 E1. This is the early model. It does not have the trapdoor here, but I picked it up at a good price. So I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do an E1 build. So I made sure to get the H&R lower receiver, so it does not have that cage around the magazine release here. We ended up getting a used M16 E1A1 pistol grip. But one thing that we did do, originally we put an A1 bird cage on, which the A1 and the E1, the later E1s did have that bird cage, but all the A1s had the bird cage. Recently, we actually transitioned over to this 3-prong flash hider to do a correct E1 build. So we went ahead, got us an original sling, and we did this M16 E1 clone build. And I absolutely love shooting it. Compared to the A2 and the A4, this one is very light. The barrel we got for this, instead of being the original 1 in 12 twist, this is a 1 in 7 twist barrel on this. It's still the pencil profile, but I did get the one with 1 in 7 twist so that I can use the same ammo, because I do not use the 55 grain ammo. I use the 62 grain ammo. And I use the green tip in the A2 and the A4. So I wanted to be able to just not have to worry about, am I using the 55 grain or am I using the 62 grain? So I went ahead and went with the 1 in 7 twist on this firearm. So we are going to be doing a comparative video on the evolution of the M16. I know a lot of people have done it, but for our channel's purposes, we are also going to do it at some point. It's kind of on the back burner, but it's still one of the ones that we are still planning on actually doing. So we will be getting on that at some point as well. All right, so at our first gun show that we did, we were actually next to this really nice gentleman, and he had a nice collection with him as well that he was selling. But we ended up, he had a few high powers with him. Some of them were some of the aftermarket, or the aftermarket like clones of them. But we also had this one, which you can kind of call it a clone. It's not an FN high power, but it's an FM high power out of Argentina. And it does not have that high power look right here. It has more of that 1911 style look to it, but it is a high power. It is very, very comfortable in the hand. And to be honest, I'm actually looking to shoot it. When we went out earlier this year, if you saw our Craig video, it's freaking cold out when we did that. It was because it was January. But we should have took this out with us just so we could enjoy it a little bit. But we are definitely going to get this one out to the range and do a video on it, just because it is a pretty cool handgun. I love how it feels. It's got Bakelite grips. It's very natural feeling. So I'm really looking forward to getting this one out, and I'm glad I was able to get it in our collection at a decent price instead of normal high power prices. Because I'll be honest, when it comes to high powers, if I was going to buy a high power, with the way I am, I would want an actual military high power. So like with an FN high power, I would want one that was maybe issued during World War II or something. And I know those cost a premium when you find them. So I did get this because I thought it was pretty cool, and it was at a really low price. So I'm like, all right, I got this. So we got it. It's in our collection. And we are going to move on to our next two. And the reason I say two is because we got them both at the same time. So I just want to kind of do them both at the same time as well. All right, so the next two we're going to talk about is we're going to start with this 1911 here. And we've already done a review on this 1911. This is our Rock Island Armory 1911. And I'll be honest, I have carried it since I've actually shot it. I have carried it from time to time. I do enjoy it. It does need a cleaning since the last time I carried it. But I enjoy shooting it. It is heavy, yes, but it is a 1911 still. And again, I do carry it. It's got the light on it. I finally got a holster made for it. So actually, I got the holster made for it when I got the FM High Power. Same day, actually. So this one I enjoy. It's one of the ones that I switch out between my EDCs, which consist of either I usually carry one of my SIGs, either my either my M17 or my 226. I also will sometimes carry my Masada, but this is one of the ones that I just rotate out, and I do it from time to time. It's just what am I feeling that day kind of thing. But one of the other guns that I got at the same time as I got this Rock Island Arms is this little hand eject. So this one is chambered in 32 long. We have gotten it out, as you should be able to see here. And it's a Spanish copy of the Smith & Wesson. So it's pretty much like a scaled down version of the Model 10. Except for it doesn't have the side plate here. So on the outside, it looks like a Smith, but it's not at all. It's just a little hand ejector. It's quite honestly, it is fun to shoot. The lockup's pretty good on the cylinders. So it has a serial number here on the butt plate. I'm not going to show that for my own reasons. It is marked Spain down here. But really, there is no other markings except for on the berry where it says 32 long cartridge. And that's it. I mean, there's trying to find information on these is near impossible. So I actually did quite a bit of research trying to find anything out about these little handguns, and there's really just not much out there on them for information. All right, so our next acquisition from 2025 is this beautiful antique here. And if you think it's a Martini Henry, you would actually be wrong. What this is a Nepalese Gahendra rifle. And to be more precise, it's the improved model. And the difference between the regular Gahendra model and the improved model is there's a screw here that'll show you that it's the improved model. And there's two mainsprings in the original. And on the improved model, they made it a V-shaped mainspring. And the dead giveaway on which one you have is that the screw is only on the improved models. Another improvement is the barrel. On the originals, they were a twist barrel. And on these are still an iron barrel, but this was made from a solid tube. So instead of being twisted together and welded together kind of thing, these are solid, so they're more safe. But if I was to shoot this, I would need to shoot at my own risk kind of thing, but use lower powered ammo just because of age and the type of metal used. And if it came to repairing this firearm, every single Gahendra rifle that was ever made was handmade, which there's a whole history on why and everything. CN Arsenal did a great job going on about that. But on this rifle here, I added to my collection at a really good price. Actually, a whole lot less than what the original importer had them listed at. The Kahindra rifle, only because they were all handmade, only about 10,000 were made, and of those 10,000, maybe 1% or 10% of them, 1 or 10%, I can't remember what it was, but about I think it was 10% were the improved model. So about 1,000 or less were the improved model, and there were only 4 carbine variants. So they are a very unique piece of history, and I am very proud that I have one for my own personal collection. So we're going to get this one back on the hung up on the wall, and then we will come back with our next firearm. All right, so the next one on our list is the Steyr M95 carbine that we got from Royal Tiger. This was one of their C-grade models, and it needed some extensive work. It still needs some work on it. One of the first things was it was missing the safety. We got that. We replaced that. I don't know if you can see it, but you might notice somebody at some point had wire wheeled all the bluing off. So one thing we're going to do, being that this is a C grade, it's in the condition it's in. Surprisingly, the barrel itself has, we cleaned it out. It has really good rifling in it. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to re-blue this rifle. We already cleaned the wood up on it. We got a crack in here we're going to get filled when we bed this rifle. And the reason we're going to be bedding this rifle is we cannot shoot it in the condition it's in right now. The metal, I don't know if you can see it, but I can just wiggle the metal. And even if I hold the stock stationary, the metal wiggles back and forth in it. So the bedding on this is off. So we need to rebed this rifle, and we're going to use Aquaglass to do just that. We are going to use it to bed this rifle in place so that we can eventually shoot it. Another thing that I want to mention on this, when we got it, the bolt itself was gritty. I couldn't just let it go and it slide in like that. Another thing that would happen, and if what I did to fix both of these, you would put the rifle like this. The bolt handle would drop, and I'm going to force it into place, and you wouldn't be able to fire it. But because of the fix, you're able to fire now. What it was, let's see if I can pull the bolt out. There's a spring here. It's actually part of this whole system here. And the spring, it loses its tension over time. And what you need to do is basically just rebend it, makes it tight again, and everything works properly. I mean, it's no parts necessary kind of fix. So we are going to continue working on this. Another thing I forgot to mention, the front sight on this was loose. So what we ended up having to do is restake it to keep it from moving. And so, yeah, with that, our next firearm is going to be what I'm going to say is my favorite bolt action rifle ever. So we're going to get that out and we're going to talk about it. And you're going to at first you're going to be confused on why I'm adding this one to the list for our firearms that we bought in 2025. And the reason I will tell you here in a second. All right, so as I said, we are now going to be talking about probably my favorite bolt action rifle of all time. And I would probably consider this probably the best bolt action rifle of World War I. And that would be this model of 1917. Now, some of you that have been following this channel may be asking, wait, that's been there forever since the channel started. And you would actually be wrong about that. This particular 1917, we actually purchased in November. And the reason why is this one has a better barrel than the one that we had up on the wall prior. I really didn't want to get rid of that one, but we did find it a new home after we had already gotten this one. And what the reason is, and one of the reasons why we haven't done our P14 model of 1917 video yet, was I wanted a decent shooter that we could take to the range and shoot for you. And the one that we had needed counterboard because the muzzle itself was worn out, even though it had fair amount of rifling on it. This one, however, the barrel on this is mint. And this one was manufactured in April of 1918. And we know that by the serial number here. One thing, this is also a Remington like our old one was. This is a very unique rifle because of with the history on it. As I said, it's probably one of the best rifles of World War I. It's my personal favorite bolt action rifle. And it's got a nice action. Yes, it's a cock on close instead of a cock on open. But it's got very Mauser-esque features. But again, the cock on close is something the Mauser is not. So it has its differences. One of the things I really like about it is the handle being swooped down like that puts it right where I am to pull it up. It also has the rear aperture sight, which I really love. A lot of our soldiers, however, did not like them because, again, they were used to different sights. They were used to leaf spring sights, or not leaf spring, leaf sights up in front of the receiver for your rear sight, not back here. The 1903 was lighter and shorter than the 1917, and the average height of a soldier back then was smaller than it is now. Also, these rifles are fairly heavy. The model of 1917 can hold 6 rounds plus the one in the chamber if you really want to, whereas the 1903 only holds 5 plus 1. But this rifle, I saw it, got a deal on it through my business. I picked up a whole bunch of other stuff for the business with this one, and I pretty much sold my other 1917 to the business and then bought this one from my own business. So basically just swapped them out. And it's all recorded in my books. So on that, we got this one here now in our collection, and we are already starting the video on our P14 and model 1917, where we're going to be shooting both of them for you to see, and we're going to talk about accuracy and everything else in that video. But we have one more firearm to deal with, and that one is the last shotgun that we got this year. We've already done an unboxing video on it, so without further ado, we'll get to that video. All right, and the last gun we're going to talk about that we got this one right before Christmas. You may have seen the unboxing video. If you haven't, it's down below. But the last gun of the year that we actually purchased for ourselves was this Stevens 520. Well, actually, it's Riverside Arms, but Riverside Arms is a subsidiary company of Stevens. Basically, what they did was when they started coming out with newer models, the older models would get put on with the Riverside Arms name. And from there, they were just sold under the Riverside Arms name, even though they're the same gun. So what we're going to do on this one, We did already shoot this, and you're going to see that video here. Well, I think we're going to refinish this one. It's a wonderful shotgun, and at first we thought we had some issues because I'm so used to being able to load a shotgun with the bolt closed, but every time we did that, the bolt kept coming out and hitting the feed ramp. Well, what I found out was on these, the round catch is only there when the feed ramp is lifted up. So the bolt has to be open for it to actually catch, and then once you close it, the next round comes out and is touching that feed ramp. No big deal. I guess that's just how they designed them back then. Really, when we had the other 520 here, I really didn't pay any attention to it. So I actually thought, at first I thought that was an issue, so I went and actually did a little research, but found others saying the same thing, and then be like, hey, yeah, that's actually how it was designed. So if that's how it was designed, that's how it was designed. But what we're going to do on this is we are going to refinish the stock. We got quite a bit of finish missing on it. So we're just going to refresh the wood. We are definitely going to re-blue the metal on this because this has no real collector value on it. And it's my shotgun. I want to re-blue it. So I like a shotgun with patina on it. Like my 1897, I love the patina on that. But this one, I just want to, it's already been re-blued once before. And the reason I know that, we got some of our markings that are not as sharp as they should be. Our corners, our edges are more rounded than they're supposed to be, which is a telltale sign that this has already been re-blued once before. This particular shotgun was made in the 1920s. And so, I mean, again, it doesn't surprise me that it would have been re-blued at some point in its life. So, all right. So, all in all, we have just gone through 17 different firearms that we got in 2025. And we're hoping 2026 is not going to be much different. We love firearms here at the Armory Hub, and we want to continue buying more and refurbishing more. We do offer gunsmithing services here, and you can find that in the link below at our website, thearmoryhub.com, where you can also visit our store for anything you may need. So if you're looking for somebody to do some work for you, reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do to make it happen. But one of our next things that we are going to be doing, and it's going to be in one of our next videos, actually, not just a future video, but our next video, is we are going to be doing another review on this Panzer Arms M4. We did an impromptu video about 2 years ago, and I'm not going to lie, it's sat in the safe those last 2 years. But we got it back out. We went ahead and put the 7-round mag tube on, and we also put the collapsible stock on it, and we took it back out to the range. So what I'm going to suggest here is that you hit that like and subscribe button to find out, do we like it now? Do we hate it? Are we going to say positive things, or are we going to say negative things about this firearm? Only by going to that video when it comes out will you know. So again, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on the Armory.